Babysitter vanished in 1996, while kids slept upstairs. One child's drawing later revealed everything. The vanishing of Amy Harper, a babysitter, vanishes, leaving 2 kids alone in a locked house. A child's hidden drawing unveils a chilling secret. Years later, Salem, Oregon, July 1996, was a tapestry of summer warmth and small-town charm. Craftsman homes glowed under streetlights. Nirvana's grunge anthems pulsed from car stereos, and kids flocked to Blockbuster for clueless VHS tapes. Orchard Lane, a quiet cul-de-sac in northeast Salem, was a haven of tidy lawns and creaky swings. On July 12th, 17-year-old Amy Harper, a shy North Salem High junior with dreams of nursing, babysat Ethan and Lily Carter, ages 7 and 5, in their 2-story home. Amy, with her flannel shirt and Doc Martens, read Charlotte's Web to the kids, tucked them in by 9 p.m. and settled in the kitchen. Her Walkman playing Smashing Pumpkins 1979 and a cherry Slurpee sweating on the counter. By midnight, when Tom and Susan Carter returned, Amy was gone. The house was locked, no signs of struggle, the children asleep upstairs. Amy's backpack, Walkman, and rosary necklace lay abandoned. A puzzle that haunted Salem for decades, until 2018, when a forgotten drawing sparked a new hunt for truth. Laura Bennett, 42 in 2018, was a Portland true crime podcaster, her career tarnished by a 2010 plagiarism scandal that cost her job at the Oregonian and her sister Claire's trust. Her podcast, Oregon Unsolved, was her lifeline. Run from a cluttered apartment overlooking the Willamette River on February 5, 2018. Ethan Carter, now 29 and a Salem middle school teacher, emailed Laura a scan of a crayon drawing he made at 7, found in his late mother's attic. The sketch showed a man with a jagged scar across his cheek peering through a window. Amy's silhouette inside, dated July 12, 1996. Ethan's note read, "I don't remember drawing this, but it terrifies me." Laura's hands trembled. The scarred man was no child's fantasy, but a key to Amy's fate. Igniting her obsession, that Salem in 1996 was a city of contrasts. Its historic downtown, with the gold-pioneered Capitol Dome, bustled with state workers, while its rural edges hid meth labs, their chemical stench drifting through pines. Orchard Lane, nestled near a park with a creaky slide, felt like a bubble, its residents swapping casseroles and gossip. Amy, a B student, babysat to save for college, her rosary a gift from her single mother, Diane Harper, a Safeway cashier, the Carterstom, a bank manager, and Susan, a nurse, trusted Amy's gentle demeanor. That night, their home became a crime scene, its silence deafening. Detective Karen Voss, a 28-year-old rookie with a penchant for Merlot lipstick, led the investigation, her notepad filled with dead ends, no fingerprints, no forced entry, only Amy's belongings and a faint tire track in the alley, too smudged to trace. The 1996 investigation unraveled swiftly. Voss interviewed neighbors who heard no screams, no barking dogs. Ethan and Lily, questioned gently, recalled Amy's bedtime story but nothing else, their eyes heavy with sleep. Diane Harper, frantic, plastered Salem with flyers, her grief etched on cartoon news. A tip about a pickup truck idling near Orchard Lane was dismissed as a delivery vehicle. Amy's rosary, etched with a H, suggested panic, but no DNA was found. Voss's team searched Kaiser's Woods, dragged the Willamette, and scoured meth dens, finding no trace. By 1997, the case was cold, Diane leaving roses at orchard. Lane's Park each July, her hope fading. Salem's residents locked their doors. Amy's vanishing, a cautionary tale whispered at PTA meetings. Laura's 2018. Investigation began with Ethan's drawing. Its scarred man, a ghost in Salem's memory. She drove to Orchard Lane, the Carter house now owned by retirees. Its pale green siding unchanged, its windows like eyes watching her. Ethan, wiry and soft-spoken, met Laura at a coffee shop, his guilt raw. "I was 7, I should have heard." Something. Laura pored over 1996 police files, obtained via a Freedom of Information request, noting the ignored truck tip and a vague report of a drifter at a July fair. Amy's Walkman, left playing 1979, and her cherry Slurpee cup, half melted, painted a teenager's final moments. Laura's podcast teaser, The Babysitter Secret, aired Ethan's story. Spiking downloads, but drawing a chilling voicemail. "Drop this case, or you're next." The threat echoed Salem's 1996 shadows, where meth and money silenced truths. Salem's 1996 atmosphere was rich with nostalgia for your 65-plus audience. Payphones glowed at gas stations. Kids rode bikes with Tamagotchis clipped to their belts. And Timberwolves games packed local bars with cheers. Orchard Lane's park hosted summer fairs, its Ferris wheel creaking under starry skies, while meth labs flickered in Salem's fringes. Amy's world flannel shirts, mixtapes, Doc Martens was. Vibrant, her babysitting gigs a step toward independence. Laura's 2018 world smartphones, ex-posts, true crime binges was a stark contrast. But Salem's soul endured, its Willamette mists whispering of 1996. Laura's first lead, a 1996 neighbor who saw the truck, was a thread in a tapestry of lies, but pursuing it would stir a hornet's nest. Laura scoured Salem Statesman Journal archives, microfiche humming in a library basement. A neighbor, Mrs. Ellen Tate, 48 in 1996, reported a scarred man at a July fair, staring at Amy as she sold lemonade for a church fundraiser. Tate's statement, buried in Voss's files, was ignored. Laura's car was keyed outside the library. "Stop," scratched into the paint, a warning from Salem's underworld. Her 2010 scandal, plagiarizing a crime story, resurfaced on X. A smear to discredit her, but Amy's case was her redemption. The scarred man, a drifter named Carl Ramsey, emerged as a suspect. His 1996 meth bust near Orchard Lane, a clue Voss dismissed. Laura's podcast was about to unravel a small-town conspiracy, but the cost was rising. Laura uncovers a 1996 police sketch of Carl Ramsey, his scarred face matching Ethan's drawing, linked to a meth bust near Orchard Lane. The vanishing of Amy Harper, a scarred drifter's face, matches a child's haunting sketch. Laura's hunt for Amy's killer awakens Salem's buried secrets. Laura Bennett's 2018. Investigation into Amy Harper's 1996 disappearance was a descent into Salem, Oregon's underbelly. Ethan Carter's childhood drawing of a scarred man, her guide. A 1996 police sketch, buried in Merlot-stained files, depicted Carl Ramsey, a 35-year-old drifter arrested for meth possession near Orchard Lane, his jagged scar matching Ethan's crayon sketch. Ramsey, released after a weak alibi at a Kaiser dive bar, was never questioned about Amy. A lapse by Detective Karen Voss, now 57 in 2018. Ramsey reportedly worked as a groundskeeper at Grace Community Church, a Salem landmark with a red brick facade. Laura's podcast, Oregon Unsolved, risked exposing a cover-up. but threats a brick through her car window, etched with stop, signaled danger. Amy's innocence, babysitting on a summer night, demanded justice and Laura's redemption. From her 2010 scandal drove her deeper. Laura met Ethan at a Salem diner. Its jukebox blaring 1996 hits, like Alanis Morissette's Ironic. Ethan, 29, his eyes shadowed, recalled Amy's warmth, braiding Lily's hair and reading bedtime stories. His drawing, hidden for 22 years, haunted him. Why didn't I tell Mum? Laura visited Diane Harper, Amy's mother, in a cluttered duplex off Liberty Street. Diane, 60, her hands trembling, clutched Amy's 1996 yearbook, her voice breaking. She was my everything. A letter from Amy, tucked in a keepsake box. Read, July 10th, 1996. A man watches the Carter house at night. I'm scared. The letter, never shared with police, pointed to a stalker, likely Ramsey, and Laura's pulse quickened. Amy sensed her doom. Salem's 1996 world pulsed with nostalgia for your 65-plus audience. Kids zipped on Razor scooters, families crowded Blockbuster for Independence Day, and grunge bands like Pearl Jam rocked Portland's Roseland Theatre an hour away. Orchard Lane's cul-de-sac, with its blooming rhododendrons, felt safe, but meth labs festered in Salem's rural edges, their chemical stench wafting through pines. Laura's podcast aired, Ethan's drawing, sparking tips. A 1996 neighbor, Mrs. Ellen Tate, 70 in 2018, recalled a scarred man at a July fair, staring at Amy as she sold lemonade for a church fundraiser. Mrs. Tate's memory, sharp despite her age, placed Ramsey near Amy days before she vanished, a lead Voss ignored. Laura's car, parked near the diner, was vandalized, snitch spray-painted in red. A warning from Salem's underworld. Laura scoured 1996 Salem Statesman Journal archives, microfiche humming in a library basement. A brief article mentioned Ramsey's meth bust, his truck a rusted Ford F-150 spotted near Orchard Lane, but Voss's report dismissed it as unrelated. Laura tracked Mrs. Tate to a retirement home, her room filled with cat figurines. He scared her, Mrs. Tate said, her voice low. Amy ran from him at the fair. Laura's notebook filled with leads, but danger grew. A thug tailed her in a pickup, its headlights glaring. Her 2010 scandal resurfaced on X, a smear to discredit her, but Amy's letter, raw with fear, fueled Laura's resolve. Grace Community Church, a sanctuary on Lancaster Drive, emerged as a focal point. Its 1996 bulletins, found in a library, listed Ramsey as a groundskeeper, paid by a shell company, Salem Holdings. Laura visited the church, its 2018 parking lot, bustling with minivans. Adeacon Paul Norris, 65, denied knowing Ramsey, his eyes darting. Salem's 1996 nostalgia Timberwolves banners, payphone calls, flannel-clad teens framed Amy's courage, her rosary a symbol of faith in a darkening world. Laura's podcast drew a tip. A 1996 teen, Sarah Miller, saw Ramsey argue with Amy near the Carter house. A moment buried in Salem's silence. Sarah, now a nurse, met Laura at a Salem hospital, her voice trembling. At 16, she saw Ramsey confront Amy at the July fair, his scar glinting under fairy lights. He told her to stay quiet, Sarah said, her eyes distant. The encounter, days before Amy vanished, was never reported, Sarah fearing retaliation. Laura's podcast was gaining traction, but the threats escalated. A note slipped under her apartment door. You're digging too deep. Salem's meth trade, tied to the church, was a web of money and power, and Amy's babysitting nights, her Walkman humming, were a fleeting light in its shadow. Sarah reveals she overheard Ramsey threaten Amy at the fair. "Keep quiet, or you're done." The vanishing of Amy Harper, a witness, links Ramsey to Amy's terror, but the church protects him. Laura's probe uncovers a meth empire behind holy walls. Laura Bennett's 2018 pursuit of Amy Harper's 1996 disappearance was a battle against Salem's underworld. Ethan Carter's drawing of a scarred man pointing to Carl Ramsey. Sarah Miller, a 1996 teen, now a nurse, had overheard Ramsey threaten Amy at a July fair. "Keep quiet, or you're done." Amy, pale, fled, her lemonade stand abandoned. Ramsey, a drifter tied to Grace Community Church, was untouchable, his meth past buried by powerful allies. Laura's podcast, Oregon Unsolved, stirred Salem's secrets, drawing a slashed tire and a note, "You're next." Amy's babysitting nights on Orchard Lane, reading to Ethan and Lily, demanded justice. But the church's shadow grew darker. Laura revisited Diane Harper at her duplex. Diane's eyes hollow as she shared Amy's 1996 diary, July 8th church. "Men watch the Carter house. I pray, but I'm scared." The diary hinted at Grace Community Church, a Salem powerhouse funding Ramsey's meth trade through a shell company, Salem Holdings. Laura infiltrated a 2018 church service, its pews packed. Deacon Paul Norris's smile tight as she mentioned Amy. A 1996 church ledger, found in a library's dusty stacks, listed payments to Salem Holdings for maintenance. Ramsey's cover. Laura's podcast aired Sarah's story. Spiking downloads, but danger. A thug in a hoodie followed her, his knife glinting in an alley. Salem's 1996 world pulsed with nostalgia for your 65 audience kids fed Tamagotchis. Families cheered at Timberwolves games, and friends blared on CRT TVs. Orchard Lane's park, with its creaky swings, hosted fairs where Amy's lemonade stand glowed with fairy lights, her smile masking fear. Laura's 2018 LifeX posts, true crime forums, Portland's hipster cafes felt alien, but Salem's Willamette mists tied the eras. Her 2010 scandal, plagiarizing a story, gnawed at her. Claire texting, "Stop before you get hurt." A 1996 police report noted Ramsey's truck near Orchard Lane, ignored by Detective Karen Voss, suggesting corruption. Laura met Ethan at Orchard Lane's park, now a dog-walking spot. Ethan, 29, shared a 1996 memory. Amy locked the back door, nervous, her rosary clutched. A 1996 neighbor, Mr. George Kline, 75 in 2018, recalled Ramsey at a church picnic, his scar unnerving Amy. Laura's apartment, a maze of files, felt like a bunker, her redemption tied to Amy's truth, even as threats mounted. A 1996 fair vendor, now retired, told Laura he saw Ramsey loitering near Amy's stand, his eyes fixed on her, a detail never reported. The church's influence, tied to Salem's meth trade, was a fortress, and Laura's podcast was chipping away at its walls. The meth epidemic of 1996, Salem was a silent plague, its labs hidden in rural barns, its profits fueling corruption. Grace Community Church, with its stained glass windows, was a facade for Salem Holdings, a front for drug money. Laura's investigation drew a tip. A 1996 church deacon, Tom Ellis, knew Ramsey's role. Ellis, 70 in 2018, met Laura in a Kaiser Park, his voice low. Ramsey was their fixer. The revelation pointed to a deeper conspiracy, but Laura's car was vandalized again, snitch, spray-painted in red, a chilling echo of her earlier warnings. Mr. Kline reveals his daughter, Sarah Kline, vanished in 1995. Last seen with a scarred man near the church. The Vanishing of Amy Harper, Part 4, Another Girl's, 1995. Disappearance, ties to Ramsey's scar. Laura's find of Amy's locket sparks a deadly pursuit. Laura Bennett's 2018 probe into Amy Harper's 1996 vanishing was a plunge into Salem's darkness. Ethan's drawing and Amy's diary. Churchmen watch, guiding lights. Mr. George Kline, a 1996 neighbor, shocked Laura at his Kaiser home. His daughter, Sarah Kline, 16, vanished in August 1995, last seen with a scarred man near Grace Community Church. Carl Ramsey, the drifter tied to Amy's case, emerged as a serial predator, shielded by the church's meth empire. Laura's podcast aired Kline's story, drawing tips but retaliation, her apartment ransacked, files stolen, a note, stop or die. At a 2018 church thrift sale, Laura found Amy's rosary locket, its clasp broken, etched with a H. A relic of her final night. Laura met Diane Harper at a Salem cafe. Diane's tears falling as she clutched the locket, missing since 1996. Amy's diary, its pages worn, noted July 11 saw the scarred man again. Father Cole knows. Father Daniel Cole, 60, in 1996, led the church, his sermons a mask for Salem Holdings, meth profits. Laura's podcast spiked, but a call warned, "You're digging your grave." Salem's 1996 nostalgia blockbuster nights, grunge mixtapes. Fair rides framed Amy's courage for your 65-plus audience. Her Walkman left playing 1979. Ethan shared a 1996 dream, Amy at a window. A man outside, his scar glowing. Laura scoured 1995 police files on Sarah Kline, finding a sketch of Ramsey, ignored by Voss. A 1996 church photo, found in archives, showed Ramsey and Cole at a picnic, Sarah nearby. Laura's car was vandalized, snitch sprayed in red. Her 2010 scandal faded, but Claire, Laura's sister, texted, "I knew Sarah, stop, please." Claire's link to Sarah stunned Laura, her redemption now personal, but the church's grip tightened. A 1996 meth addict, now sober, told Laura. Ramsey bragged about handling girls who saw too much. A chilling hint at Sarah's fate. The church's meth empire was a web of deceit, its profits fueling Salem's corruption. Laura's podcast drew a tip. A 1996 teen, Claire's friend, saw Ramsey with Sarah at a church youth group. Claire, 38 in 2018, met Laura in Portland, her voice breaking. Sarah was scared of him. The memory, buried for 23 years, pointed to Ramsey's pattern. Laura's investigation was closing in, but the threats escalated. The thug tailed her, his pickup's headlights glaring in her rearview mirror. Claire reveals she saw Ramsey with Sarah in 1995, days before her disappearance, at a church youth group. The Vanishing of Amy Harper, Part 5, Claire's memory, ties Ramsey to another victim, but the church hides him. Laura's probe uncovers a priest's deadly secret. Laura Bennett's 2018 quest for Amy Harper's 1996 truth was a race against Salem's underworld. Ethan's drawing, Amy's locket, and diary guiding stars. Claire Bennett, Laura's estranged sister, met her in Portland, her voice breaking, in 1995 at 15. Claire saw Carl Ramsey with Sarah Kline at a Grace Community Church youth group days before Sarah vanished. Ramsey, the scarred drifter, and Father Daniel Cole, the church's 1996 leader, ran a meth empire through Salem holdings, silencing Amy and Sarah. Laura's podcast, Oregon Unsolved, aired Claire's story, drawing Salem police interest. But a knife-wielding thug, he slashed Laura's arm, hissing, "Back off." Amy's babysitting courage and Sarah's youth group innocence demanded justice for your 65-plus audience. But the church's complicity deepened. Laura infiltrated a 2018 church fundraiser. Father Cole, now 82, frail but evasive. A 1996 church ledger, slipped to Laura by a janitor, listed meth payments to Ramsey, signed by Cole. Ethan shared a 1996 memory. Amy prayed with her rosary, terrified, locking windows. Salem's 1996 nostalgia Timberwolves games, Seinfeld quotes. Flannel shirts framed Amy's faith, her diary noting Cole's dark deals. Laura's apartment, a fortress of files, felt like a trap, her 2010 scandal fading as Claire, 38, joined her, their bond fragile but growing. A 1996 pastor, Reverend Mark Hayes, 70 in 2018, told Laura Cole paid Ramsey to clean up messes. Laura's podcast drew a tip. Amy's Walkman held a hidden tape. Her car was torched, snitch charred on its hood. Diane's grief over Amy's locket fueled Laura, her redemption tied to exposing Cole's lies. A 1996 fair vendor, now a retiree, recalled Ramsey loitering near Amy's lemonade stand, his presence a shadow over the fair's fairy lights. The church's meth empire was unraveling, but Laura's life was on the line. Her investigation a beacon in Salem's 1996 mists. Laura finds Amy's Walkman tape, her voice trembling. "Carl's at the window tonight. Cole won't help." The vanishing of Amy Harper. Amy's tape reveals her fear, but Cole's church shields Ramsey. Laura's discovery stirs a killer's wrath. Laura Bennett's 2018 investigation into Amy Harper's 1996 fate was a battle against Salem's shadows. Ethan's drawing, Amy's locket, diary, and now a Walkman tape, guiding lights. Found in Diane Harper's attic, the tape chilled Laura. Amy's voice whispered, "July 11, 1990. He says Carl's at the window tonight. Cole won't help." Carl Ramsey, the scarred drifter, stalked Amy Harper and Father Daniel Cole, Grace Community. Church's leader ignored her pleas, his meth empire through Salem holdings thriving. Laura's podcast aired the tape, spiking downloads but drawing a car chase. Her tires screeched, a pickup tailing her. Amy's babysitting courage and Sarah Kline's innocence demanded justice for your 65-plus audience, but Salem's underworld fought back. Laura met a 1996 church series deacon, Tom Ellis, 70, in a Kaiser Park. Ellis, trembling, admitted Cole-funded Ramsey's meth deals, silencing problems like Amy. A 1996 police wiretap, leaked by a tipster, captured Ramsey discussing a cleanup with Cole, ignored by Voss. Ethan shared a 1996 nightmare, Amy at a window, a scarred man outside, his scar glowing. Salem's 1996 World Grunge concerts, payphone calls, fair rides framed Amy's courage, her diary noting Cole's lies. Laura's apartment was trashed, "Stop or die" scrawled in marker. Claire, now helping Laura, shared a 1995 memory. Sarah Kline feared Ramsey, avoiding church events. A 1996 neighbor saw Ramsey's truck near Orchard Lane, a lead buried. Laura's podcast drew a tip. Sarah's diary was hidden in the church, naming Ramsey. The meth empire's grip was tightening, and Laura's life was in peril. Her investigation, a spark in Salem's darkness. Laura finds Sarah's 1995 diary in a church basement. Its final entry: Carl follows me. Cole's involved. The vanishing of Amy Harper. Sarah's diary names Ramsey and Cole, linking to vanishings. Laura's hunt risks her life as the church strikes back. Laura Bennett's 2018 probe into Amy Harper's 1996 vanishing was a race against Salem's underworld, drawing Amy's locket, diary, and tape, guiding stars. In a Grace Community Church basement, Laura found Sarah Kline's 1995 diary. Its final entry chilling. August 15th, 1995. Carl follows me. Cole's involved. Ramsey and Cole, tied to Amy and Sarah's disappearances, ran a meth empire, silencing teens who saw too much. Laura's podcast aired Sarah's diary, drawing police, but a knife attack she escaped, her arm scarred. Amy's babysitting bravery and Sarah's youth group innocence demanded justice for your 65-plus audience. Laura met a 1996 cop, Officer Jim Reed, 60, in a Salem pub. Reed claimed Voss buried Ramsey's truck lead, bribed by Salem Holdings. A.N. 1996 church photo showed Ramsey, Cole, and a meth dealer buried in archives. Ethan shared a 1996 memory. Amy's rosary fell unnoticed as she locked windows. Salem's 1996 nostalgia Timberwolves games, clueless quotes, Doc Martens framed Amy's faith. Laura's apartment, a bunker, felt like a cage, her 2010 scandal. Fading as Claire, now invested, feared for her. A 1996 meth addict, now sober, told Laura Ramsey bragged about fixing Amy. Laura's podcast spiked, but her phone was hacked, texts gone. Diane's grief over Amy's tape, and George Kline's over Sarah's diary, fueled Laura, her redemption tied to exposing Ramsey and Cole. A 1996 witness, a retired teacher, saw Ramsey near Amy's house, a detail ignored by Voss, adding to the conspiracy's weight. A tipster claims Amy and Sarah's bodies lie in a church crypt. Sealed since 1996, the crypt's dark secret, a church crypt, may hold Amy and Sarah's fates. But danger closes in. Laura's discovery threatens a meth empire's collapse. Laura Bennett's 2018 quest for Amy Harper's 1996 truth was a battle against Salem's darkness. Ethan's drawing, Amy's locket, diary, tape, and Sarah Kline's diary guiding stars. A tipster claimed Amy and Sarah's bodies lay in a Grace Community Church crypt. Sealed since 1996 was Laura's final lead. Carl Ramsey and Father Daniel Cole faced exposure, their meth empire through Salem Holdings crumbling. Laura's podcast aired the cryptip, drawing police, but retaliation. Claire was threatened. A note at her job: drop it or you're next. Amy's babysitting courage and Sarah's innocence hung in the balance as Laura risked all for your 65-plus audience. Laura infiltrated the church's 2018 basement, its air damp and the air musty. A 1996 Fort Ledger listed meth payments to Ramsey, signed by Cole. Ethan shared a 1996 memory. Amy prayed, terrified, her rosary clutched tight. Salem 1996 nostalgia blockbuster lines, grunge riffs, fair light shows Amy's light, her diary noting Cole's betrayal. Laura's apartment was a fortress, her 2010 scandal fading as Claire, now her ally, feared for their safety. A 1996 witness, a retired teacher, saw Ramsey drag Amy near the church. Ignored by Voss, Laura's podcast drew a tip. Ramsey lived in a church shed in 1996, hiding evidence. Her car was followed, headlights glaring. Diane and George Kline's grief over Amy and Sarah's diaries fueled Laura. Her redemption near, but the crypt's truth loomed. Laura finds a 1996 knife in the church shed, etched with CR stained, with blood, and a second tape hidden nearby. The killer's confession, a blood-stained knife and tape point to Ramsey's guilt. Laura's final push risks all as the church's empire crumbles. Laura Bennett's 2018 hunt for Amy Harper's 1996 fate was a race against Salem's underworld. Ethan's drawing, Amy's locket, diary, tape, and Sarah Kline's diary guiding stars. In a Grace Community Church shed, Laura found a 1996 knife etched with CR, stained with blood, and a second tape. Amy's voice whispering, July 12, 1996. Carl's outside. I told Cole, he laughed. Carl, Ramsey, and father. Cole faced exposure. Laura's podcast aired the knife and tape, drawing Salem police, but a trapped Ramsey confronted her in an alley, his scar glinting, hissing, "You'll end like them." Amy's and Sarah's courage drove Laura's redemption from her 2010 scandal. Laura met a 1956 witness, a Frank Lyle, in a 75, in hospice. Lyle saw Ramsey drag Amy near the church, her scream cut short. Ethan shared a 1996 memory. Amy's rosary fell, unnoticed, as she locked doors. Salem's 1996 nostalgia payphones, reruns, grunge shows framed Amy's faith. Laura's apartment. A bunker held her obsession. Claire, now her anchor. A 1996 church record tied Ramsey to a meth dealer, ignored by Voss, hinting at her corruption. Laura's podcast spiked, but Ramsey's lawyer sued for defamation. Diane's defamation and George Kline's grief over Amy and Sarah fueled Laura, her redemption tied to justice. A tip about the crypt shifted the case, pointing to Amy's and Sarah's remains. Police opened the church, crypt, finding remains matching Amy's and Sarah's dental records. Proof of murder. The conspiracy's final echo, Amy and Sarah's remains are found, but justice teeters. A final clue unveils a chilling conspiracy in Salem. Laura Bennett's 2018 investigation into Amy Harper's 1996 disappearance reached its climax. Ethan's drawing, Amy's locket, diary, tapes, and Sarah Kline's diary guiding stars. Salem. Police opened a Grace Community Church crypt, finding remains matching Amy's and Sarah's dental records, their skulls fractured, proof of murder. Carl Ramsey, 35, was arrested, confessing he killed Amy and Sarah to silence their suspicions of his meth deals. Funded by Father Daniel Cole's church through Salem Holdings. Laura's podcast, Oregon Unsolved, aired the crypt's discovery, playing Amy's tapes 2000s, her voice a call for justice. Salem's 1996 nostalgia grunge anthems, blockbuster nights, fair rides framed Amy and Sarah's courage. Their diaries testaments to their fight for your 65-plus audience. Cole, 60, confessed to hiding Ramsey, his silence bored by meth profits. Detective Karen Voss faced charges for burying leads, her bribes exposed. Community funds built an Amy Harper and Sarah Kline Memorial Park on Orchard Lane, their rosaries displayed in a glass case. Laura reconciled with Claire, her 2010 scandal fading, her scar a badge of survival. Ethan, 29, found peace, his drawing a key to justice. Diane and George Kline, united in grief, thanked Laura, their daughter's legacies enduring. Salem's church reformed, its meth ties severed, but a 2018 letter arrived. Chilling Laura, a third girl, Emily Watts, vanished in 1994. Her diary naming Ramsey and a churchman still free, hinting at a broader conspiracy. The letter reveals Emily's diary, hidden in a church vault, naming Ramsey and an unknown accomplice, sparking a new mystery. Thanks for staying until the end. If this story gripped you, like, share, and subscribe. Flicker Soul for more mysteries that refuse to stay buried.